Okay, have you ever been sitting in a service, like nodding along to the message, but kind of secretly thinking, how does this apply to me, like on a Tuesday?
Right. It's easy for those ideas about community and faith to feel kind of like Sunday things, not like how we actually live day to day.
Exactly. And this sermon from Transfigured Church, Concepts of Community, that's what really got me thinking. It digs into what it means to actually be a part of a religious community. And it's way more than just like showing up on Sundays.
What I thought was really interesting was how the speaker tied together those everyday things we do in our faith, like praying or even singing, to this much bigger idea of responsibility within a community.
Yeah, that's like he was saying, yeah, personal prayer, it matters. But what about when, like, someone down the street is sick or something really bad happens to a family in the church? That's where we have to come together.
Exactly. He used this example, actually, about how nobody can just decide to be a bishop.
Right.
There's this whole process. The community has to be involved. It's not just one day I woke up and decided,
It's not a solo thing. And he literally said, like, I couldn't just wake up and say, hey, everyone, I'm a bishop now, which made me realize how often we try to handle things all alone, when really we're supposed to rely on each other.
it's so true. We need that connection.
Mhm.
We do better when we're together, especially when things are hard, not just when they're good.
And speaking of hard things, he talked about confession, like really
Yeah.
openly. He was saying how when we share what we're struggling with within the church, it can actually help us heal.
Didn't he even mention the whole, like, therapy industry?
Yeah,
As in, this is a human thing, this need to share and process.
exactly. Billions of dollars. But what really struck me was he included himself in that. He's been through tough times too, needed his church family. He even said, I've been there. I get it.
That changes things, doesn't it? When a leader admits they're not perfect, it makes it easier for everyone else to be honest.
He doesn't sound like some distant figure on a stage anymore. And then he said something about calling out versus calling in, which I thought was
Right.
interesting.
Oh, yeah. He was saying that sometimes helping someone in the community doesn't mean running to the pastor or a leader right away. Sometimes it means we have to individually step up, do what needs to be done ourselves.
And the best example, he told this story about Deacon Taylor. So she got a call from someone in the church, their child had just died by suicide. And instead of, going straight to the pastor, Deacon Taylor went to the family herself to be there for them. And the speaker, he praised that. He said, that's what we should all do.
Wow.
But it does kind of make you think, is that always the right thing? Like, are there times when you do need to involve a leader?
Oh, for sure. That's the tough part, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where do we draw the line? When does it go from personal responsibility to, I don't know, needing someone higher up? We all face that, I think. Yeah, it's a tough call sometimes.
Totally. And he didn't just like dodge the whole leadership thing either. He talked about this tribunal thing they had.
Oh, right. That was interesting. Like a way to hold each other accountable. Even the leadership, right?
So even the pastor can't just say, because I said so.
Not even the bishop. He actually said he'd been on a tribunal himself for other bishops.
Whoa, seriously. So it's like checks and balances, but for church.
Exactly. About upholding the values of the community, no matter who you are.
Smart. Avoids those power trips some leaders get on. But it wasn't all about like catching people messing up.
Right. It was more about encouraging each other to actually live those values, to do the right thing because it's right, not just avoid getting in trouble.
Yeah.
I even wrote down this line. He said, we must also read them conceptually.
About the scriptures.
Yeah. Like we have to apply those teachings to our our relationships, not just, read them.
He used that example about kids in school. Like, they can be the ones to stop bullying, befriend the lonely kid.
Exactly. Living your faith isn't a Sunday thing. It's those everyday moments where you can make a difference. Be that support, like Deacon Taylor was.
Oh, that reminds me of something else he said. That really stuck with me. The whole being saved versus got saved thing. Like, it never ends. What'd you think about that?
Oh, that was good. It's not a one-time thing, right? He connected it to healing, actually.
Yeah.
Sometimes, he said, God uses other people to heal stuff in us we don't even realize is there.
Kind of humbling when you think about it. Someone might see something in me I don't, and by saying something, it could help me grow.
It's about that connection being real,
Wow.
allowing it to change us, both people in that, giving and receiving. That's growth.
For sure. And then, the way he ended it, I wrote it down. He said, sometimes God has caused you to be the shepherd. Powerful, right?
Wow. Like we might be the ones who have to reach out, give guidance.
Exactly, not wait for someone else. But then that's what we were talking about before, isn't it? How do you know when to do that?
Right. Like where's that line? between helping and butting in. It's not always obvious.
Not at all. And whose job is it anyway to say something?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? It's like we all want to be good people, good members of our communities, but what does that actually look like? This sermon really makes you think about that.
It's easy to just go to services, right?
Yeah.
And maybe chip in some money, but this is different.
Way different. It's about really seeing the people around us,
Yeah.
you know, and being willing to act, even when it's hard.
He even said something like, even nature shows us some things we just shouldn't do.
We have that in us, right? That sense of right and wrong, like basic human stuff.
It's like that quote, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. But like for your church family, not the whole world.
Totally. If we're part of something, we're responsible for it, right?
Mm.
Our actions, or even not doing anything, it all matters.
And maybe when we take that seriously, we get more out of it too. That belonging, purpose, even the healing he talked about.
It's a big challenge, what he's saying, but it's hopeful too, you know? We can make a difference just by being there for each other.
So next time you're at church or even just out and about and you see someone having a tough time, remember what this pastor said. You might be exactly who they need at that moment.
And never forget, you're not alone in this. We're all connected. And in that connection, there's strength, there's hope, and that's something we can all hold on to.